Welcome everyone. Here today we will discuss about the third law of inheritance, that is Mendel's third law of inheritance, which is law of independent assortment. Law of independent assortment. We have already seen the first two laws, that is law of dominance, which states that when pure homozygous or when pure line is crossed, when two pure lines are crossed in F1 generation, we get all dominant traits. And in the second law, we have seen that the alleles of a gene get segregated. The alleles of a gene will be having two forms, so those two forms will get segregated or separated during gamete formation, and each will retain its identity. That is, each allele will retain its identity. Law of segregation, that is separation. A gene is present in two forms, that is two forms. So those two forms will get separated during gamete formation. That's it. Now coming to this third law. So in this previous two laws, now that is in law of dominance as well as in law of segregation, those laws can be explained using monohybrid crosses. Monohybrid cross, I have already told you what is monohybrid cross. A cross in which we will be checking only one type of character. We will be checking only one type of character, and dihybrid cross we will be checking two types of characters. So this law of dominance and law of segregation, they can be explained with taking monohybrid cross, but this law of independent assortment, the third law of Mendel, that is independent assortment, here this law can be explained only taking a dihybrid cross. We cannot explain this law with monohybrid cross. We can explain it with dihybrid or trihybrid cross, but here it cannot be explained with monohybrid cross, like it was seen in law of dominance and law of law of segregation. So now coming to this third law of dominance. So if we can say this in the easiest form, what this law states, that allele of one gene can independently assort with any of the allele of other gene. If we say what does this law states, in the simplest form we can say that one gene can independently assort with any of the allele of other gene. What does this mean? Independently, we all know what is independent. Assort means grouping it, classifying it. Assort means classifying itself or placing it. Here now if we take this example, I already said you this can be explained. This can be explained during taking dihybrid cross. In dihybrid cross we will check for two characters. We will check for two characters. So now here we take two characters, that is T and T. This is for height. This is for height, T and T, and this P and P, this is for color. Height and color. The two characters which we are taking here to explain this law is height and color. T and T. For height, that is each and every gene will have two alleles. So these two alleles for height and these two alleles for color. These two alleles for color of the flower. Now here when this is pure line, these two are when we start a cross, we will start with the pure line. So here this is pure tall and pure purple. So and this is homozygous tall and purple. This is homozygous. This is also homozygous. This is dwarf and white. Homozygous, dwarf and white. So we are taking a plant with characters that is tall and purple. This plant has characters, two characters, that is tall and purple. The height is tall and the color of the flower is purple. So we are taking another plant which is also homozygous, but here the height is dwarf and the color is white. The height of the plant is dwarf and the color is white. So both of them are homozygous. So when we start with pure line, and pure line is always homozygous. So homozygous tall and purple, this is homozygous dwarf and white. Both these plants are crossed. Both these plants are crossed. We said that we are taking two characters. So these two are the gametes. Sorry, these two are parent generation. So this one, this box, this is one parent and this is another parent. Parent means one plant with tall and purple characters, and here it is another parent, that is another plant with dwarf and white character, that is white characters, two characters. Now these two plants are crossed. So here these plants will be producing zygote. When two parents are crossed, these parents will produce zygote. Sorry, not zygote, these parents will produce gametes. So these are nothing but gametes. Gametes form. So these are the gametes of this plant and these are the gametes of this plant. Let us see how these gametes are formed. Let us see how these gametes are formed. So first we will take this one. Where is the test? So if I take for how the gametes are formed. So this is first T, it is crossed with this one. It is classifying itself with this one, capital T and this capital P. Now, so the gamete which formed is this one, this and this together. So it is assorting itself with this one. This T, this one allele of a gene is classifying itself with another allele of another gene. So here this is capital T and this is capital P. This is one gamete which is formed. Now coming to another. So this can also assort with this and this can also assort with this. P and P, we get this gamete. That is capital P again, capital T again, capital P. Now, so this has classified itself with this. This T has classified itself with this also. This is here. This has classified with this also, grouped. This has grouped with this also. This has grouped with this also. So this is one, that is two gametes. Now coming to another. Beside this is also there. So this will also cross with this one. So this T and this P, we have this gamete, and in the last this will also go with this T and this P. So we have this gamete. So four gametes will be formed from one parent which is having two characters. We have, that is, four gametes can be formed. It can give four gametes. Same with this one. So when these two, how this plant will be giving this T and this P. So this is TP. Now coming to this will group with this also. This is this one. Now here are this and this. So this you have. Then this with this, we have this fourth gamete. So this is the parent with two characters. So when it forms gamete, each allele, this is one allele, this is another allele. For the tallness we have, this is the gene which is for tallness. It has two alleles. This is one and this is one. So now this is gene with two alleles which gives purple color. Purple color. Now this T can go and form gamete with this also. This T can go and form with this P also. Coming to this T, this allele can form gamete with this, can assort itself with this also. So what it is being said is, here allele of one gene, allele of one, this is one gene. So one allele of a gene, this is the gene. So one allele of this gene can classify itself or group itself with this as well as this. It can classify itself with this as well as it can classify itself with this. So this is how, if it classifies itself with this one, this will get. If it classifies itself with this one, this will get. Now the same, this will also classify itself. This will also assort. So when this will go this way, this will go this way. So like this, what we are saying is, one gene can independently assort with any of the allele. One gene can independently assort with other, that is alleles of the other gene. It can group itself. It can group itself with the alleles of the other gene. So if this is assorting itself with this one, so it is independent of this one beside it. Whatever is beside this, it doesn't affect this one. So this can classify itself with this also, this can classify itself with this also. This does not have any effect over this. So this lost, that is what it is said, allele of one gene. Allele of one gene can independently assort, that is group, with any of the allele of other gene. Any means it can assort with this also, it can assort with this also. So it can group. Assortment is nothing but grouping with other, classifying with other. So here, when these two parents are crossed, so they produce these gametes. That is, by assorting itself, they produce these gametes. So the plant with height, that is tall height and purple color flowers, will produce these gametes. A plant with dwarf height and white color flowers, they will produce these gametes. They will produce these gametes. So by taking these gametes, if we make a cross, for example, this is from the male. You just imagine this as the male plant, imagine this as the female one. So males will be taken on one side. When we plot it in the Punnett square, for example, this one, these four are the gametes. Now I'll write this: T, P, T, P, then T, P, T, P. So this four on one side, and here these I'll write on this side: T, P, T, P, T, P, T, P. If I make a cross. So we are already said that when we make a cross now, gametes of male will be placed at one side and gametes of female will be placed at another side. So make a cross here. So we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. We will get, when these gametes are crossed now, we will get 16 offsprings. We will get 16 offsprings. We'll see it in detail, but here we will get in F1 generation, when these two plants are crossed, here it forms 4 gametes, and these 4 gametes, when they are crossed now, we will get 16 offsprings. We will get 16 offsprings in the first generation, and all of the offsprings will be of this one. So if I write here like this and this T, capital T, small t, capital P, small p. This one. If I do it with this also, capital T, small t, capital P, small p. So like this, all this we will get 16, which will be of this 16 we get offsprings 16. All of them are heterozygous, tall and purple. All of them are heterozygous, tall and purple. Basically what we are stating in this law is, if a gene, that is if a allele of one gene can independently assort, allele of one gene can place itself with any of the allele of the other gene. It can place itself, it can classify itself, or it can assort itself with any of the allele of the other gene. So if we cross this, so if we take these two, if we cross these two, we will get these gametes. So when we cross this, that is when these gametes are crossed, so first generation, in F1 generation, we get all heterozygous purple. How we get? You have seen, we get all heterozygous tall and purple, because if this is one capital and one small, so this capital will only be expressed, that is capital will be tall. Here is one capital P, small p, that is we will get purple only, because purple is tall. Purple is, sorry, not tall, purple is dominant. Here T is dominant, here purple is dominant. Even in the presence of this small t and small p, we won't, that is these two will not be expressed, as they are recessive. As this is recessive, that is small t and small p, they are recessive, they cannot be expressed. They will be present, but they cannot be expressed. So when we make a cross, we get all tall and purple heterozygous plants. We get all tall and purple heterozygous plants. So when we self it, this is F1 generation. So on selfing this in F2 generation, what we get is, so when we self it, we got 16 now. Like this we got 16. Out of 16 we are taking this one and crossing it here. This is first and this is second. So if we cross it, this is called as selfing. That is same generation. Same generation. These two same generation are crossed for F2 generation. So when we cross this, again we get gametes like this. How will get gametes? This T and this P, and again this T and this P. How we are getting this one? This T and this P here, this T here and this P here. So we get 4 gametes. So when we self, we get 4 gametes. So here a dominant allele, what we say, a dominant allele can go with dominant allele of other. So this is dominant allele. Now it can go with dominant allele of one gene, that is another gene, or it can also go with recessive allele of another gene. I'll explain you here itself. So if we take this one, T and T, P and P. So how gametes will be formed? That is, this is the dominant gene. This is the dominant gene. It can assort with another dominant gene, that is T, P, and it can assort with the recessive gene, that is T and small p. That is, a dominant allele can go with dominant allele can go with dominant allele of other gene, or it can also go with recessive allele of another gene. So it is independent of what is beside it. This one, for example, this is assorting now. This capital T is assorting with this one, that is purple gene. But here along beside this capital T, small t is also there. But small t will not have, that is, it is independent. This capital T is independent. It is not dependent. That is, it is not that when it is assorting it with itself, this should also participate. No, it can assort itself. It is not dependent on what is beside it. It can assort with dominant gene as well as the recessive gene. Assort in the sense, it can classify itself with the dominant gene as well as it can classify it with the recessive gene. So basically what we are saying in this law is, that is allele of one gene can classify itself with allele of other gene independently. It is classifying itself with the allele of other gene. It can classify itself with both the alleles of other gene. So this is the law of independent assortment. Hope it is clear to you. In the next class, we will see what is monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross and trihybrid cross, how to make it, how we can move, that is here we have seen dihybrid cross, how we will be getting, what is the genotype, what is the phenotype, we will see all of it. But as of now, what we are saying is, if in this law, if there is a gene, suppose take this, if there is a gene with two alleles, so this can, and this is one, this is one. So this is one gene, an allele of one gene, an allele, this is one allele, this is another allele, both of them together is gene. So here an allele of one gene can assort itself with another allele of another gene, both the alleles, it can assort with both the alleles of another gene. So this is the third law of independent assortment. First law was law of dominance, where in F1 generation all of the offsprings which we get are having dominant traits. Second law was law of segregation. In this now, for example, if the gene will be having two alleles, so during this gamete formation, both the alleles will get separated. So this was law of segregation. And the third law is law of independent assortment, that is an allele of one gene can independently assort with alleles of other gene. Next class we will see what is monohybrid, dihybrid and trihybrid cross.